Hello everyone, my name is Willy. I would like to introduce you to my modular analog synthesizer. It's basically a DIY made by me and with my brother. He's the guy who made the designs of the interfaces and the CAD work and panels and all the front interfacing for you. So I started this basically 3.5 years ago. I wanted to afford myself like a modular synthesizer, but it's actually a big dream because it's quite expensive. Like it can reach up to 3, 4, 5 lakhs. So it's beyond our reaches or like musicians. So the idea started where I used to live in Bangalore. Then I shifted myself to go to Goa, so I can afford the life and the expenses of making my own dream to come true. Yeah, so I started maybe making my first oscillator, you can say, and it went on like click. Then I went on for the second one, third one. So yeah, and then what to say? Yeah, so basically the synthesizer what I made is little different than what everybody familiar with the Moogs. Maybe everyone familiar with the Moogs, right? So this is like more like what you can say the Moogs was the west side of synthesizer in the US. This is like the East Coast, like the Bukla's kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys know the Bukla. He has different firm. Like he used to be a musician as well, an electronic engineer. I'm not an electronic engineer, but the different approach. So Moog, the Moog, Robert Moog, he used to be more into like he used not to make music himself, but he used to be into I think just in electronics, and he came up with his first synthesizer working on the age of 37, I think. Yeah. Then how to say like how I started the career is like I didn't know from where to start. From where to start? Should I start learning electronics, or should I learn like what kind of module I need to choose? So it was like started with a small dilemma like that. Then I said like you should do something called reverse engineering. So where you get some modules made by some other people and look at it like how it is made and how it is fabricated and the idea of all the background, what you see behind the panels, right? So yeah, like that. So it was like quite tough for me for the first year. Then once I started learning what you call the electronics part of it, then it started flowing and I started having no glitches and no how to say like nothing hard to achieve. You just have to really focus on it, dedicate it, your life for it, and time and brain and passion about it. And I come from background not like say like I'm a producer as well. So I used to love to read about modular, like each module, what does it do, like that, yeah. So like usually people have fully closed synthesizer, like it will be like everything pre-patched. Like if you guys see maybe the MS-20 or the Moogs, I know there is some Moogs now, it's patchable, but when I started there were actually no modular in Moog yet. There is in the 70s, but I'm talking about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, and then so I start looking what should we starting with. Then I followed the Bukla kind of approach of modules and stuff, because I wanted to be more like little different. We don't want to only Moogs everywhere, Moog. So we said let's do different kind of approach into choosing the modules and how to say the way of making music and stuff. Like he have lots of crazy, how to say, unpredictable sequencers, unpredictable sound generators, different waveforms. Not the only waveforms we are all used to have, like sine, square, and triangle, and the sawtooth. Yeah, so I chose this micro VCO, I call it. It has also like some special waveform which is mixed between the sine and so it has a very nice musically sound into it. And into the digital world, I chose this module which can give you up to maybe 30 or 30, actually more, because there is some what you call wavetable synthesis. You guys are aware of wavetable synthesis made by Waldorf, the German company. So you will get one patch with maybe 15 different sounds in it and stuff. So you got two patches like that in this guy. Yeah, and I have two different filters. So one will be like a gritty, dirty sounding filter, and one I call it the liquid filter, which is more easy to fit in the mix and give you the vanilla in the end of the day, you know, like fit in any mix and very, very beautiful. Yeah, and you get like in the dirty filter, which is it's actually the early version of the MS-20. Beatworx have one MS-20 in their studio. Mine is the earliest version of the MS-20, which is almost sounding the same, but mine with a little higher resonance, which is controllable, like no worries about that. And so it has low pass and high pass. And the other filter, which will be having 12 dB. You guys understand dBs or poles? Like, okay, so 2 pole mean 12 dB, 4 pole mean 24 dB, low pass. Yeah, the Moogs will have 24 dB, and will have 6 dB, 12 dB, 18 dB, 24 dB, like switchable. But you will get only, I think, low pass filter. I think maybe a high pass filter in some versions of it. Yeah, and it has as well like a VCA into it, which is you don't have to tax your amplifier section, so you can have a VCA built for your filter output. And a band pass, you guys aware of the band pass? Band pass is just take the mid of sound, you know, and you start sweeping it like that. Yeah. So sometimes you do want to choose bypass filter, low pass filter for all the jobs, so you can fit some sound into the mix and stuff like that. Yeah, and for the envelope section, I chose this module. It's a Bokla. It's called the ramp generator, which is built, I think, in the 70s or 1967. I'm not very sure. It's like you guys aware of only maybe attack, decay, sustain, and release? Yeah. This has something called rise and fall. Okay, so rise will be like attack, and decay or release will be the fall. And it is like you can start a cycle of that and bring back the cycle over there. You have something called logic, which is mean the OR and comparator. You know, like you can make complex envelope generator. By first envelope can trigger the sound. Then once this period of time finished, the second will start, and you can even go crazy by having 4. Bokla himself was having 4 of them. Yeah, and it is looping as well. Like you can loop it, so you can have something. You can use it as like a sequencer. It's not a real sequencer, but it can start looping, and you can make it faster, shorter, like higher. And you can put an LFO on it, and you can have it a normal envelope, like speed, which is the fastest one, and there is something will be very low. LFO will be the medium speed. Yeah, we will demo that in a bit. And there is something called attenuverter. What is attenuverter is? Attenuverter is a module considered one of the utility modules, which people don't give it so much, attention. But actually, it can make lots of magic in your music. If you send a signal into the attenuverter, like you have a sine wave like this, let's say the simplest form, so it can make it all the peak, everything up in the peak, or it can flip it upside down, or it can make it ulta, or we can make everything minus, and we can make everything on plus. So it's very, very useful, very crazy if you know how to use it. And there is a module we use to make you communicate with the computers. It's called MIDI to CV. My MIDI to CV, you know, like you can use a normal MIDI cable. Everyone is aware of MIDI cable, yeah. You can just take MIDI cable and connect it to your keyboard, or you can connect. There is one special cable I have. You can buy it easily in any vendors. Like you can get a USB, so you can connect maybe the USB to your laptop, and the MIDI cable into the keyboard, or to some other sequencer, I use myself this sequencer, where I'm not sequencing with MIDI. I'm sequencing totally analog. I'll explain what does that mean. Totally analog means like when you guys, for sure everyone has played with a MIDI keyboard and you know what is MIDI. So MIDI, you are limited to 128 numbers. You know? So that numbers can be notes or can be changes in your what do you say, in the music palette or parameter or something, you know, like maybe filter cutoff, whatever you want to use it for on the MIDI board with a plugin or however. In the analog field, how we approach that, we use 3 cables instead of the MIDI cable. One, we call it the CV pitch, okay? CV pitch to which controls your pitch of your sound, you know, like it will act like your hands on the keys. And the second one will be the gating. So we plug that into envelope generator. So I'll just say the simplest form is envelope generator, so we can shape the sound basically. And this is not just like a normal envelope, like you can, how to say, you can do so much different magic. You can make it backwards, frontward. You can have 3 different shapes. You know, like the response of the envelope is it has a linear in the middle, which is like this, and you have logarithmic, and you have exponential. So the exponential, like it's like this. It start half the sound will go down, and the other one is the way around. Like the beginning of the sound will come, and the other sound will be almost like eaten or cancelled or something like that. Yeah, and we can do something called you know, like we use end of cycle in this. Like this is like when we loop it, we call it a cycle, right? Like when it's normalcy, it doesn't play like that. So when we flip it up and you press the button, it start playing. So if you just want to check your sound, you can just press this and you can just get it to get the sound as if you just press a key or something like that. All right. So we will get into more details about that. So I told you it has 3 different speeds. One is the normal, we call it the fastest one, which is do more of the envelope kind of jobs. And the medium is actually LFO, like 3 different waves, the basic ones, I think the saw and triangle and square. But you can make complex ones when you use 2 of these guys, so they'll start merging and making some different kind. Like when we take an end of cycle of this and bring it back to this one. So one waveform will be like this, one waveform will be like that. So unpredictable. I don't know even how to explain what kind of waveform it is. All right. So, and we got a mixer. So mixer is something everyone for sure is familiar with, but it's a 4-channel mixer. So we have 2 outputs. One will be a plus output, one will be a minus output. What does that mean? The plus output is nice to be used with low pass filter because you're going to take, while you use the mixer, we maybe want to use 2 oscillators or 3 oscillators or 4 oscillators, you and your imagination and your requirement. So the minus goes to a high pass filter. So it plays like that, it goes in the negative, like it's a crazy kind of use for the minus output of the filter. All right. So this module, it's called the turning machine. Turning machine, it's like you can call it an easy word, it's a random sequencer. Some people saying, what will I do with a random sequencer? Actually, it has so many, you can use it for modulating something, you can just make it to play something, you want something to play randomly something. You can accompany it with something called pulses. So this is play like say 16 bits of sound. So each bit will be one sequence, and you can go up to 8 or 16 or 32 steps like a normal sequencer, no? So you can flip the sequence, the switches, and choose your link. So what is this pulses use? Like when you can connect one to a kick, and the second, third, and fourth bit to maybe a snare, or even you can put a bass line if you like also. And if you want 2 of them together, you can put here and here and here. So you can use maybe 5 to 6 different sounds and stuff like that. Here we have a delay. It's a bucket brigade delay emulation. It's actually it's a digital delay. It's the emulation of the old school analog delays. It's quite cool, like kind of cool, because you can how to say, you can patch it. It has so many patching possibilities with your envelope and LFOs and the logics, like all kind of things. Yeah. This section is the most important module. Some people also don't give it so much importance. They say, why do I need my VCA? I can just put my output directly to the sound card and just be happy. But actually it does much more than that. VCA is actually a big control knob. Like, yeah, it's an amplifier. So everything in analog, we call it VC something, like VCF, so voltage controlled filter. Oscillator, VCO, voltage controlled oscillator. So this is the VCA, voltage controlled amplifier. So what we use it for, like you only want to modulate your volume, otherwise it would be like a continuous sound. Or when you want to play, if you don't have an amplifier, the sound will be just like giving you like a long beep, like beep. When you press it will play, okay, but it will be beep. Yeah, usually when you get like a ready-made keyboard, like any ready-made keyboard, all that will be patched internally. You don't have to worry about. But in the modular analog world, it's everything you have to be thinking of how you're gonna be using everything. So it's a quite simple, like how do we control the pitch? I will start out now. So there is, in every oscillator, there is something called volt per octave. What is a volt per octave? In analog world, what you say, like at every 1 octave, right, of music, it's 1 volt. So let's say C1 is 1 volt, C2 2 volt, C3 3 volt. And how you get after that, like small divisions inside each semitone, like C sharp will be 1.2, 1.6 something, I can't remember every increment of the voltage, yeah, but it's like that. So we have to play according to that. So all the machine will understand that 1 volt. Everything in the analog it speaks volt. Like the LFO give you 10 volts, the gate give you 5 volt, like that. So it sounds little difficult in the beginning, but with little bit reading and and stuff, it's like quite simple and very joyful to play, because you will never ever sound the same. Like every day you can sound different. If you have pre-patched synthesizer, you will always sound the same. You will always sound the same, because it's they created the signal for you. Like you can take all the outputs of your all the waveforms in one time. Can you do that with a normal synthesizer? Like I have 5 waveforms. Okay, so you can take all the 5 waveforms in one shot. Imagine that. And you can put them all, maybe you can use them all inside one filter. I'm just giving one crazy possibility. You can also have something called FM. You can use another oscillator to modulate your oscillator, right? In this oscillator, I don't have attenuator for the FM, but I have one oscillator coming soon. It will have this kind of attenuator. Yeah. In this guy, I have in the other. This is a digital oscillator. A digital oscillator, usually people will try to avoid. They'll say, oh, we have so many of them in my computer. Why should I buy a digital oscillator? Okay, so when you play in your computer, what is the max you can go, like how many plugins you can put the quality of sound? You will not be able to achieve the quality of the hardware digital oscillator. Why? This can reach up to 96 kilohertz, if you guys know. 96 kilohertz, it's mad. Even you can choose if you want to sound less, also you can put it 32 or whatever, up to 8-bit. All right. So this has like so many waveforms. So what is this beautiful module is about? Like it brings to us all the classic analog, digital, and software plugins in one module. Okay. And why we want to use this? Like maybe I can have 2, 3, 4, 5 analog oscillators, but you have to put some effects on them, and some sounds like bells, and some sounds like many sounds, not only bell. You will require a very long signal chain to be able to achieve that particular sound, right? So this thing, we have the first sound which called the seesaw. It's from the CS80 Yamaha. for sure you guys have heard about it. It's like a very, very big hit of the 80s of the Yamaha. And second one is like, I don't know what is it called. It's a morphing oscillator from the sub fatty and the sub 37. Those are Moogs, so you can have also some Moog sounds. And the third one, this is the sub fatty and 37. This one can be your Juno, the Roland Juno sound. Yeah, so it goes up like so many of them. So I'll demo it when we do it. We'll listen to it. So I just explain what is this. What is the magic about this instrument is we can have so many different scales. What is different scales? Like people buy individual module for just like, you know, you want to sound different scale, like how much you will play, you will never even reach to that kind of scale. Like don't think yourself so smart you can get it. So people buy some individual modules, like you can look at one module called U scale, like the letter U scale, like one word. It gives you like Dorian, pentatonic, semitones, even the guy who invented this, not me, okay? So I'm adapting his design, he had no problem. So he loves India so much, so we have so many Indian scales into the list, yeah? So everybody will have a look at it in a bit. Yeah, and I'll go to the next. So now, this sound is 96 kilohertz digital oscillator. Okay, so what is left? The amplifier, I forgot to say, it's 6 VCAs in one. Usually people put 2 VCAs, which is not good, it will be expensive. So this one is like 6 VCAs in one unit. As cost-wise, as useful, like more useful-wise, it's very small. You can just have 6 of them, and you can mix 5 sounds, and you have a master out with one knob. Okay, and we have 2 different responses in the amplifier. One is linear, and one is exponential. Yeah, linear will be like a straight line like that. Exponential will be like walk like that. So you cannot like the way how the volume increase will be more sound. So you can try your sound when you're taking it, like you can flip between them. All right, and this last one is the very, very special module. It's called Clouds. It's again made by the same guy. Okay, it's actually a granular synthesizer, and it is you can have it. You can have as well like another 5 modes. I still didn't have the other modes, but it's coming very soon, in less than a month. I'll give you like an introduction about that. You can convert the whole interface becomes a granular synthesizer. Then with the flip of a switch, it becomes a looping delay. With another flipping of a switch, it becomes up reverb. Up reverb is a lexicon 480, if anybody aware of that. Okay. What is make it special? And there is also there's something called beat slicer. If you guys like all the kind of beat slicing and stuff, you can send some of your drums to it, and you can take a stereo out. All right. So it's very, 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 very crazy and beautiful module. I decided to keep it over here, so you know, like it will be away from the cables, so your hand will be easy reaching to this side. And I keep the MIDI guy over here on the left, so it will not be interrupting your way. You know, like and it will be easy always patching over here. You cannot put it in the middle or something. So when you want to plan like a modular synthesizer, you have to do it according to your liking and to your hand reach and stuff. All right. So we'll start demoing. Yeah. So this is we are going to start first with. Starting with the analog oscillator. All right, and I'm going to use the MS-20 for it. All right. back, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Yeah? And it is being controlled by this guy. This is like my release, full release. Alright, so everyone familiar with the envelope, yeah? So now I'll show you the responses. So now we'll try the second filter. This one, I control the accent. I take it from my sequencer. So I put it at the FM. FM is another way of modulating the cutoff. So you can put directly that. But why the FM is special, guys? Because you can go, you can make your sound, your bob, like those bubbles, goes backwards and forwards. All right. So, and this is the input. We put in the input of the filter. This is our output. So first I will start with the 12 dB, 2-pole, low pass. This is 24 dB. See, it makes a big difference. This is, I'm not changing this. 12 dB. 24 dB. 24 dB with a VC. And this is a band pass. sequencer is modulating our cutoff. So we can go more crazy by using something called multiples like this. So we can control it as well. See, when I remove the cutoff and then put it back in, so you can use try only this. Like, I'm not setting the sequencer now to play with our cutoff. You can let the sequencer work with it, or you can do it yourself. So you can make it all like all that kind of stuff. This is the our band pass, yeah? So we'll get back to our low pass. Some elite kind of sound. To give little increase. I'll give backwards. To modulate the cutoff. Yeah? Now I will put an LFO. Like we'll use ands, ors, and comparator. So this is or. So what is this? It's a crossfader. guys, like 2 envelopes. This is the level. How much modulation you want? Full? Full? 0? This is the craziest one. That's the comparator. It's called comparator. So we didn't get this response with the normal envelopes right before, right? It's a new one. So this is like endless possibilities of variation or shaping of sound. So it takes time to trigger. Let me change from here. The first one finishes, the second one starts. This is a normal behavior. This is or comparator and normal behavior. This is envelope, like fast speed, low speed, slowest. This is taking a long time. Nice speeds you can make with that. Like we will not change the sound and we'll listen to the speeds, what actually do the sound. Full speed. Medium. Backwards, the modulation. Plus the front. Backwards. You don't want so much, then you reduce. Extreme. Play line between plus and minus. Very fast. And the backward, it has different feeling when you put it backwards. It sounds like a reverse kick or something. So you bring it to the front, forward. Which is the response. Oscillators, analog. Okay, before I go to two oscillators, we'll demo the different waveforms, alright? So this is, which is playing now, is the sawtooth. That's the triangle. Yeah, triangle sound dull, but people like it for some uses. This is the special waveform, which you don't usually find it. It's like a mix of sine and saw. Very musical. I'll put back the saw. So it's more powerful, but different variation. This is very nice for melodies. We get more sweeter sound than the previous one. So now we'll play with this to remove those birds. It's all the envelope magic. See, like you put it up, so it will not trigger. The sound will disappear. So I'm talking about modulation part, not like normal sound. So start. I'll put LFO back in. I'll put it very slow now. Put it on fastest guy. This is the normal behavior. Put it on the or. Normal behavior. Comparator. Comparator, you can use all of them. And you can go crossfade between them. Now it's taken from channel B more than A. So yeah, you basically crossfading between two envelopes. Make it more interesting by working one fast, like the two envelopes, one fast, one slow. Like that. Yeah. So I'll show the other waveforms. Now I will show you the square wave. you guys know what is pulse width modulation? It's like the pulse mean a square wave basically. So what is a pulse width? Like this is the square, so it makes it smaller, bigger. So we are playing with the width, so we get different harmonics and different sounds. So I'll play with that the sine. Okay. Now we will try this piece, this digital oscillator. So this is basically Bluetooth. So we're adding little notch to it to play with its sound. I'm morphing between 4 waveforms. A Moog sound, sub 37. Sound. What the fold is? It's a Sergi from the Sergi modular. He's a French guy. He makes also this kind of stuff like a boucle, like all unpredictable kind of sounds. So this is called a wave fold. Fold mean wave shaping. See, I'll keep wave shaping. It's not one sound. This is a C sound, it's actually a plugin. This is a sound. Yeah, and we are detuning it. So for every sound, there is like these two knobs, do different functions. So you have to look in the manual and you'll understand, because you will not remember. There's so many patches, so I have to see what is actually this. That's why I have to look in the manual. And you can see also the waveforms. This is there's many sines placed together, sine waves. Very nice for trance, techno. let's put this guy again. Modulate the FM by the same way we're doing for the cutoff. Response of the VCA. We'll put it back in this filter. There's so many sounds, like it goes up, even there is some drum sounds and vowels, whoa, 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 all kind of stuff. and some FM patches as well. I'll just demo them fastly, yeah? All possibilities. We're modulating the cutoff here. It's a crazy patch over This is a pluck, like a guitar sound. Can get also this kind of sound. Can modulate it. bell. It's a normal sound. So to make a bell sound, you need a sine, then amplifier envelope, then another sine, then like around 3 sines and 3 envelopes to be able to get this sound. So this is, we get the enharmonic sound of it. That's the sound. We'll give it a little filter tweak. LFO. Different response on the envelope. Take a break.